Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So we just drove from North Dakota all the way to the southernmost part of continental United States, which as you guys can see is just 90 short miles from Cuba as the crow flies. So we are going to do a very quick review of this 2006 Honda Civic Hybrid. And the Honda Civic is a vehicle from Honda which was first introduced in 1972, and this is the 8th generation of the Honda Civic. So prior to this, Honda had already produced another hybrid, and that was the generation prior to this. And that version actually offered a manual transmission option. But for the 8th generation, which ran from 2006 to 2011, well, it was introduced in 2005 as a 2006 model year vehicle and ended in 2012. But this version, the 8th generation hybrid, did not offer a manual option. So a few improvements were made here. So the integrated motor assist, which is the electric motor that helps the engine to take care of the hybrid part, there was a substantial improvement. It's the 4th generation type of that IMA, integrated motor assist, and that resulted in an increase in the power output, I think by about 50%, putting it at about 20 horsepower. This is powered by a 1.3 liter engine. The regular Civics are powered by a 1.8, and I think the SIs are powered by a 2.0 liter engine. So the integrated motor assist is motor is mounted between the transmission and the engine. It's like a pancake motor, and it has the controller. How would you call it? It has a technical name. Well, that is mounted right on the motor, and that also increases efficiency. There's an improved battery pack, which they had quite a high rate of failure, and I think throughout the course of this production of the 8th model Honda Civic Hybrid, there were software improvements that were meant to address those issues. Even though after the software changes, some people reported that their reported mileage went down, and Honda was sued many times in small claims court. So the part I was looking for is called the inverter. The inverter is integrated with the IMA, so that's the electric motor. All right, so a few things to talk about the Honda Civic Hybrid. First of all, you have the lightweight alloy wheels, and if you have one of these or you've never experienced it, guys, these wheels truly are extremely light. I've never ever had a vehicle, even vehicles with 14-inch wheels, that has a rim that's as light as this one. Even with the tires mounted, it still is extremely featherweight light. The other thing that we can notice is that these same wheels are also found on the Honda Civic GX, which runs on compressed natural gas. So the GX model will also have the same type of alloy wheels. I'm missing the center cap, so do pardon me. A few things also about the this generation Civic. I'm not sure if all of them had it, but this is something which I thought is really cool. You have these integrated indicator lights on the side mirrors. This version of the Honda Civic came with an electric power steering, whereas the rest of the Honda Civic lineup came with hydraulic assisted power steering. So the GX and the hybrid came with electric power steering. The other thing I want to show you guys, actually, let's pop open the hood. To pop open the hood, you go right here. So there's a covering that goes on top of the engine. I've just taken mine off, it's in the trunk. But I just wanted to point out that this vehicle actually has a very high-tech variable valve management system. So at certain times, depending if you are slowing down or accelerating, it will actually shut off the cylinders and close the valves. So that is something to take note of. And then the compressor on this vehicle is hiding somewhere down there. There it is. Sorry about that. That's a military jet. There's an Air Force base just around the corner. So the compressor for the air conditioning is a dual powered compressor. So on the one hand, it can run on electric power, and also, so if the vehicle is at a stop and the engine is not running, you have the compressor can be powered by an internal electric motor, and that way the occupants can stay cool inside whereas the engine is not running. And then if needed, the compressor can also be powered by this engine, which can mechanically turn the compressor. The other thing I want to point out is, even though this engine is transversely mounted, the exhaust actually is in the back, as you guys can see, whereas the other versions of the Honda Civic have the exhaust coming out, manifold coming out up front. I think those are the main things I wanted to point out here. And that engine, the integrated motor, it is actually sandwiched between the transmission, which you have here on the right. You can see the power cords going to the IMA, and the engine, which is here to the left. So it's just sandwiched in there. So if you have this Honda Civic, a hybrid, and you are going to buy parts, please be mindful that the parts are not exactly the same. As you guys can see, it's a 1.3 liter engine with the exhaust coming out the back, intake manifold up front, and also specificities concerning the compressor for the air conditioning. Another thing I want to point out is the axle for the passenger side. So it's a two-piece axle compared to the axle on the regular Honda Civic. And so you have a first shaft that comes all the way here to about this point on the carrier bearing. And then you have another short piece of the axle shaft that goes all the way outside. Pretty cool. So I think that is all what I wanted to point out here under the hood. Of course, you have the oil dipstick right there, and the one for the transmission right here. Oil recommended is 020, so very thin oil. That helps with the efficiency. So the reported efficiency for this vehicle when it came out was about 49 miles per gallon city, and I think 45 highway. In 2008, I believe, the EPA changed the way it evaluated fuel consumption. So the projected consumption for this vehicle dropped to, I think, about 45 city and 40 highway. Okay, let's take a look inside. This particular one actually has, believe it or not, about more than 300,000 miles. So let's take a look inside. So this is what the Honda Civic looks like inside. I think it's actually quite, it looks premium compared to a budget vehicle for that, for 2006. And this particular one has held up pretty good over the years. You can see the interior, the seats, you have the adjustments for the seat, tilt and height. And then you can also slide it forward or backwards. Here you have the trunk. You can actually lock it, push for gas and pull for the trunk, and there you have for the hood storage for your coins. And as you guys can see, this actually has a two-tiered dash. At the bottom you have the traditional gauges, and on top, let's put the key in. That's what the key looks like, as you guys can see. So let's get the key into the ignition, which is right here. Turn it on, and you can see all the warning light. Right there you can tell that it's an electric steering wheel. You have a blue screen that says IMA, Integrated Motor Assist. You have your oil pressure, your 12-volt battery, cruise control, how much the hybrid battery is charged, and this will tell you if the hybrid battery or the vehicle is getting any assistance, and that will go up to show how much assistance it's getting from the electric motor. And down here, let's say you are slowing down, it shows green, and the green indicates, depending on how many bars you have going down, it indicates how much power you are sending to the high voltage battery in the back. At the top you have the temperature for the coolant. You have your miles, and you can swap that to kilometers per hour. And to the right you have your fuel, amount of fuel in the vehicle. All right, on the left here you have some controls. Here you can select and reset your odometer. Here you can choose between miles per hour, kilometers per hour, and you can also choose to show other indicators, either the fuel consumption, momentary, that's the actual fuel consumption as you're driving, or you can choose to show the temperature. So I'll press it and you guys can see how it changes. There you go. So when you're driving, if you are going, let's say 50 miles per gallon, it's gonna indicate all the way up to 50. So that's how you swap that out. I usually like to see my temperature. And of course here you can control the brightness of your screen during the day or night. The vehicle does have daytime running lights. Moving over to the right, you have your stereo, which you can see it's already built. It's built into the dash. It takes compact disc digital audio with text. It does have XM satellite radio. That was the time when that was going mainstream. And here you have your climate control. So you can put it on auto, choose what temperature you want, or you can select where you want the air to go. So I just like to use it on auto. Turn that off for now. Coming down here you have, of course, your 12-volt charger, and down here you have another aux, which you can use to put plug in, you know, a cable to get sound from your phone or whatever. Right here. Storage, you have a glove compartment here, quite large. Have an airbag, and the build quality, I mean, it doesn't feel too cheap. The plastic right there is soft touch. You have the cloth. It really feels premium for a Honda Civic. Coming down towards the center console, you have the gear shift lever. You have your e-brake and another storage compartment down there. One there, another storage compartment here. If we turn towards the center, here you have a space for 2 cup holders, and another little spot here where you can put, I don't know, change or whatever. Here you have an armrest that actually slides forward backwards. Slide it forward backwards. You pop it open, and there you have room for a charger. Wow. Yeah, those jets are loud. So let's go back to the dash. As you guys can see, this vehicle actually has 344,000 miles, and it still drives pretty good. Here on the steering wheel you have control for the channels, volume, and the mode for your radio. So you can choose FM1, FM2, whatever you fancy. And then of course you have the airbag here, secondary restraint system. Here you have the cruise control. You can press it on, off. You can see on the dash the green light. Resume, set, and cancel. Here you have your wiper controls, and here you have your headlight controls. So we'll jump real quick to the back. And also, hey, before I forget, you see you have side curtain airbags. So this was really a very safe and advanced vehicle, even though it weighed just about 2,875 pounds, which is quite light for a vehicle this size and with the type of battery it had. So there you have the dome light, or the spotlights for those in front, and there you have the dome light, which you can set when you open the door, it lights up. You have grab handles for the hand, and here you can adjust the height of your seat belt. Speakers, you have speakers up front. The stereo is not the greatest, but it's okay. I can live with that. Let's jump out, guys, and see the rear. And again, this was classified as an advanced technology partial zero emission vehicle by the California Air Resources Board and the EPA. And the rest of the Honda Civic line for this year, I think they were all classified as ultra low emission vehicles. Okay, let's pop the rear door open. As you guys can see, has a nice room. On the other versions of the Honda Civic, Civic, you have 2/3, 1/3 split rear seat, but for this one it doesn't do that trick. However, in the back right here just behind the seat, that's where you have the high voltage battery. So it resides right here behind here. And I've never tried to look at mine, but yeah, those are the vents for cooling, keep it cool. And of course you still have the side curtain airbags. Quality still very great after all these years, and yeah, I think it's actually a great vehicle. So you have the key, 3 buttons with different functions. You have the close, press twice and it makes a little beep. Once it opens the driver's door, twice it opens all the doors, and of course you can pop the trunk open, as you guys can see. It has the little blue hybrid sign over there. These are incandescent bulbs, but the way they were designed, they almost look like they're LEDs. And yeah, overall I'm very pleased with the vehicle. Still runs great after all these years, and I'm getting, if I go below 65 miles an hour, I get easily anywhere from 40 to 49 miles per gallon. So I'm pleased with it, especially with the price of gas these days. All right, guys, let me know what your thoughts are, what you think about the vehicle, and yeah. And before I leave, one last thing which I didn't talk about, the handling of the vehicle. I have to say, guys, this vehicle handles extremely well. I understand that Honda redesigned the rear suspension on this 8th generation Honda Civic, and it shows when you're driving the vehicle. It feels really planted, and yeah, it's quite safe. I feel safe when driving it, even on the interstate with you know, bumpy roads. So there you go, guys. Thanks for joining me. Quite a busy day out here. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye now.